Show me the way to go home, home, home. I'm tired and I wanna go to bed. I had a little drink about an hour ago and I got it right to my head.
Larry, mate, we've got to close the beaches.
Brody, I can't do that. Do you know what that would do to this tune? Summer's our peak season.
For God's sake, Larry, there's a shark out there, mate. You saw what happened to that girl. Only a matter of time before it happens again.
I'm aware of the situation, Martin, but we're not going to panic the entire island based on your hunch.
It's no a hunch, mate. We've got the evidence. Hooper examined the remains. It's definitely a shark.
Martin, my kids were on the beach too, but I just can't close the beaches without solid proof that there's a danger to the public.
What more proof do you need? They're talking about people's lives here, mate.
We need to take this one step at a time. Let's increase the number of shark spotters. We'll put up warnings, but we're not closing the beaches on the 4th of July.
Oh, mate, you're risking lives for money. If another attack happens, the blood will be on your hands, mate.
Martin, you're my chief of police, and I appreciate your concern. But I'm also the mayor, and I have to think about this town's economy. We'll take precautions, but the beaches stay open.
And scene. Hello everyone, welcome to Seismic Cinema. I am James, aka Quint, and alongside me I have got Colin, aka Bruce. How you doing, Colin?
Yeah, I'm good. I couldn't think what the Scottish version of a mayor was.
The Lord Provost? I don't know.
Wasn't sure.
Aye, no sure, man. Aye, good to have you back, buddy. It's been a long time.
Hey, has it?
I think we've been 2 weeks, mate. I think we've
couple of weeks, yeah.
A couple of weeks. It's a long time for us, isn't it?
Aye, no, it's good to be back.
Aye, good stuff. So you are listening or watching our Jaws review. Okay, so before I go into that, we'll do a wee bit of housekeeping. So I'm going to get the banners here. So you can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Threads, and TikTok. You can also watch us on Spotify as well, but you can also watch us on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and basically anywhere that you find your podcasts. We've also got a Buy Me a Coffee page where you can buy or help buy Gary a new microphone, who is part of the Seismic Soccer kind of sister show, and you can get us at buymeacoffee.com/Seismic Cinema. And lastly, there you go. We are part of the PodPack Collective, and you can find PodPack Collective on Twitter. And basically, what they are is kind of like-minded indie podcasters who are trying to kind of make a difference to the indie scene out there. So, if you don't know who's on it, I think there's about 10 people on it, 10 podcasters. So, go and check them out because we have also collaborated on a few of them. And they've also been on our shows, so you might have already heard about them. Okay. So, Colin, it's been 2 weeks since I've seen you, mate. And I thought we can kind of bring something back. So, what have you been watching?
We've brought this back so many times.
It's always been Paul's not here, mate.
Well, obviously, I watched Jaws. Naturally. I also have been watching House of the Dragon every week, as some of our pals have been as well. I finished the Acolyte, the Star Wars show, finished this Wednesday. A very polarizing show. I think it's one that maybe a Seismic Cinema should get their teeth into at some point. It could be interesting. And what else have I been watching? I watched a few films. I watched The Hitman, the one on Netflix, with a guy who's in everything, but his name constantly escapes me.
Don't know, kind of think.
Twisters as well, the new film Twisters. Honestly, I just keep forgetting his name.
Is that the boy that's in Top Gun, isn't it?
Aye.
New Top Gun.
I just keep forgetting his name, even though he's in everything right now. I watched that, and was it the same night or like the night before? I watched. Oh, what was it? Oh, it was that other shark film, Under Paris.
Oh, you mentioned that, yeah.
And last night I just got back from my wedding, but the first 5 episodes of the final season of Cobra Kai had dropped. So I watched all 5 of them last night. They're only about half an hour, so it was only a couple of hours. So been through them because they're releasing it in kind of 3 lots of 5 across the next 6 months or so. So yeah, so I've been watching a few things. I always obviously have more time to watch movies and stuff when we're not at work. So managed to catch a couple of films. Oh, and I also went to with the kids to see Despicable Me 4.
All right.
And I saw Inside Out 2 with them a couple of weeks ago. So been to the cinema a couple of times, and I might go try and see Twisters next week, possibly.
Aye. See Under Paris, is that on like Netflix or anything like that?
It's on Netflix, yeah. I quite enjoyed it. Again, I think it's quite a polarizing one. I think people either hate it or really like it. But I think it's worth a watch.
All right. Might give that a wee
It's
watch.
It's dubbed over, by the way, because it's a French film.
Right, that's fine. I don't really mind. I watch a lot of Korean, Japanese films, so I don't really mind subtitles.
It's quite funny though. We watched it, and we were all sitting there, me, Aileen, and Jordan. We're like, why are they all speaking English? The dub was actually quite good, but we're all like, why are they speaking English in Paris? And it wasn't until like a wee bit into the film we're like, oh, this is dubbed. We thought they just made a conscious decision to speak English in Paris, but obviously it was just quite a good dub. Now, if you watch it, you'll probably notice clock right away, but now that you know.
No, give it a wee watch. Me, you watch tonight. Maybe we'll see what happens.
If it's like an hour and a half, roundabout, an easy watch, but it's quite good. I enjoyed it.
Right, okay.
You'll probably hate it.
I don't know. I'm still watching Dexter at the moment, so I've just finished season 4 and Dexter. And watched Jaws as well, of course, and lead up to the review. And I am also getting back into the swing of things with this. I've seen it for a long time, but I'm what do you call it? A Bigfoot enthusiast. So
you've been talking about this in the WhatsApp group, yeah.
Aye. So we've been watching a program called Expedition Bigfoot, which on season 3 now. So there's another season. This one just been released. This one, so I've not seen this one. So I've seen other ones before, but it's good to get back in again. So obviously, following that, I've been went down the rabbit hole on YouTube and whatever, and looking at all things Bigfoot. So it's quite interesting.
I thought you were joking as well.
No, I'm not joking, mate. This is deadly serious.
On the topic of Dexter, I'm also still my kind of long-term watch, because it's got like 7 seasons. I'm still watching Billions as well on Now TV, which I'm enjoying. But because it's like kind of 12-hour-long episodes per season, 7 seasons, it's what I'm going to watch kind of over a longer period of time.
Aye. So, you've been pretty busy then watching a few things, even though you've got a few things going in the background.
Well, turns out not at night, but during the waking hours, babies tend to sleep quite a lot, so there is still quite a lot of time to watch TV and stuff. But it was a bit of a struggle getting up for this morning.
Aye, but it's good to record on the weekend.
Yeah, well, I suppose it's the holidays; it doesn't matter as much.
All right, good. I know it's true. Okay, good stuff, man. So I think we've covered that. We can maybe get our teeth into the review, see what I did there.
Quite a snappy intro.
Yeah. So let's get our teeth into the review then. So I'm going to give a quick synopsis of the film. So we are reviewing Jaws. It was released in 1975. So when a young woman is killed by a shark while skin dipping near New England tourist town Amity Island, Martin Brody, who's the police chief, wants to close the beaches, but the mayor, as he heard from our screen read, overrules him, fearing that the loss of revenue will cripple the town. Matt Hooper and ship captain Quint offer to help Brody capture the killer beast, and the trio engage in their epic battle of man versus nature. So there's a wee quick synopsis there of the film. It's directed by Steven Spielberg. We have cast of Roy Schneider, Robert Schneider, Robert Shaw, Richard Dreyfuss, Lorraine Gray, and Murray Hamilton. But really, only 3 actors or main actors are the first 3: Roy Schneider, Robert Shaw, and Richard Dreyfuss. The budget, it was $7 million to make, estimated, and it took in an estimated $470 million.
Whoa.
Which is, I know, that's amazing. The score, which I'll come on to, was by John Williams. It was adapted from the novel by Peter Benchley, also called Jaws.
You ever read that?
I haven't, no.
I was tempted to buy it, actually.
Oh, really? Right. I've read it. It won 3 Academy Awards. It won Best Score, Best Film Editing, and the Best Sound. However, it did not win the Best Picture. It lost to One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, which is also a good film. So I can see why it lost to that. Okay, so that was the kind of the deets behind Jaws. So before we get into favourite scenes and quotes and all that sort of thing, mate, so whether we liked it or not, what was your history with Jaws? When did you first see it?
I've just got vague recollections of like one scene, which it's funny that the one scene I always remember, I actually can't picture where it is in the film, but I've just got vague memories of watching it as a child, and it's actually quite funny. My memory stems to Paul's house, so I've got this weird feeling that I watched it at Paul's house when we were kids. I then didn't watch it for years, and over the last couple of years I've watched it 2 or 3 times maybe. It's one that, I don't know about you, it's one you just get a wee notion for just to watch it. Like other ones like The Shining's another one. What's the other? Titanic. I don't know, a lot of them seem to be water related, but these are films I just get the urge to watch. I'll just be sitting there doing something random. I'm like, oh, I want to watch Titanic tonight or Jaws tonight. So I've watched that a couple of times over the last couple of years. Watched it as a kid, and obviously watched it for the review as well.
Okay. For me, I think I was maybe late to the party on this one. Like, when I say late, I was in my teens when I watched it, do you know what I mean? So maybe 13, 14, I don't know. But what was your first kind of feeling when you watched it? Were you terrified, or were you?
My recollection is too vague.
Too vague.
It's just like a snippet of just a scene from when I was a kid. So I don't really have that. But I can talk more about any bits that scared me, or as we go through the review, you know.
I'm the same. I don't really have anything like being scared, whatever. Do you know what I mean? I don't know, but I think anything, and we'll go into it. If anything scares you, it's more the score behind it all, isn't it? It's the music that leads up to certain scenes. That's
how are you?
The most.
How are you with water generally? I think that's quite a good thing to talk about before we get into the review, because that'll kind of colour our views on certain aspects of the film.
I don't know. I'm happy.
Would you do you like going swimming in open water? Or do you jump off boats if you're on a cruise, like booze cruise, or like what's your confidence levels?
Aye, pretty high, mate. I've jumped off many a boat in booze cruises before, so it doesn't really bother me at all, mate. Honest with you.
I can swim. I don't like submersion in water. And I think it all stems back to having glasses when I was a kid, because before I got contact lenses, I had to take my glasses off and I couldn't see anything. So I was getting jumping into swimming pools when in the primary school where my eyesight was terrible. And then when I got contact lenses, you can't really wear them in water. So my memories of being underwater are just not being able to see. So yeah, I'm not the kind of person that would jump off like a boat or really want to go swimming in deep water. So that just gives a wee bit of perspective into maybe my view on some of the scenes.
Aye, I mean, if you've got that kind of fear for an early age, mate, it's hard to kind of.
I don't say it's a fear as such. It's just a preference. as much as when I see like cruise ships and yachts, I was like, oh, I'd love to have that or love to go on that. I'm probably happier on the land watching the movies in my living room.
Aye. Fair enough, man. Fair enough. Right, okay. So that's your history of the film. Okay, so I think actually what I'll do, I'm going to take a wee kind of back step here. We put this on Twitter because if I don't do it now, I'll forget, and I don't want to forget, and I want to give the people shout outs and things. So we did put this on Twitter. We got a couple of responses.
A couple of being kind.
Couple being kind. So we asked people what they thought about Jaws. Dissect that film said Jaws is perfection, and we'll get to our review. We'll get to our thoughts on that. Also got a comment from Stu from Stu World Order. He hadn't seen it since he was a little kid. You need to watch it. So he watched it that day, and
that's the influence we have on people.
Well, that's it. And he says a good time, and it's as good as everyone says. So it was a couple. So thank you for that interaction, guys. If you do want to obviously comment on any of our posts, Facebook, Twitter, whatever it may be, then you'll get a free shout out here, and a wee plug for your pod as well.
And we've had Dissect That Film and Stu World Order on our podcast before. So definitely worth checking them out. Really great guys.
Indeed. Okay, so now I've done that. Aye. So now we've kind of covered that part of it. What did you actually what's your overall thoughts of the film? Because I'll go into individual scenes and quotes later on, man. But what is your actual thoughts of the film? Is it what you remembered when you were younger? That certain scene? Where you get a wee bit more love for it now? What was your?
I think definitely more love for it now because when I was a kid, I wasn't analysing things, and even a couple of years ago before I started the podcast, wasn't proper into kind of analysing things. But obviously, we do kind of look at things through a different lens now when we are going to come on and discuss the films. I think starting at the end, ironically, is important. I think I've been listening to a few like reviews and kind of like videos about the making of Jaws, and I think Spielberg originally wanted to show more of the shark throughout the film, but there was issues with the what would be classed the shark as, like because it was like what would you call it? It's not like an animatronic, but it's like a.
I mean,
do you know what I'm leading to? Anyway, there was issues with the shark, and then they ultimately decided to show less of the shark. But I think a creature feature, or some call it horror, like this, I think it's similar to like your slasher films as well. I think the less you see of the villain, so to speak, I think to me, I enjoy the film more before the big reveal. So when you see the shark on the boat at the end, I do think if you saw that throughout the film, rather than just a hint of it, I think that would have kind of taken away from the film because it doesn't look that great. So yeah, I think the big strength of the film is the tension and just the wee snippets where you maybe see the shark just out of shot, or I do love the scenes where you see the point of view of the shark as well, like when you're under the water, seeing like people's legs, and even the opening scene of the film when they're going through like the kind of just going through the ocean. So I think it actually worked out for the better that the shark wasn't working, because I think that really enhanced the film for me personally.
I quite agree. I think the less is more aspect is a big thing for films like this. Like you were talking about kind of slasher films and horror films in general. People don't tend to get scared when they see something on screen as much.
Yeah.
I think the creepier the better. And if you don't see something, it leaves it up to interpretation of what is out there, or how big the shark is in this case. Do you know what I mean? And I think you're right. Granted, it was 1975. It was released. I mean, the shark wasn't great. That's fair enough. You know what I mean? I can give it a pass for that. And I think if we did see more of the shark, then it would lose its kind of its beauty a little bit, and the fear factor about it all. So I do agree with you there, mate. So the less is more aspect definitely probably worked in its favour.
I know you say it was the 1975, but I don't think you could ever really do the terror of the shark justice. Because see, if you created a CGI shark, I think it's always got to be that less is more. I don't think you could ever really replicate the real thing unless you actually filmed a real shark.
Well, I know a few shark tamers, mate. We could maybe round them up.
I'll set that one out.
Aye, of course, you know. But like a CGI shark wouldn't work either. Do you know what I mean? I think it was the best. Well, 1975 CGI at that point in time, anyway. But I think they did the best they could. I think for me, mate, the film in general was well done. It wasn't a long film either, was it? It wasn't a long film. I can't remember what the run time was.
Around about 2 hours, maybe.
Aye.
Maybe less.
Should wrote that down. I didn't write it down, but it was a long film, mate, and it went in quite quickly because I think it was you were on that journey
2 hours,
with them.
4 minutes.
Like, it was longer than I thought it would be then. You're on that journey with them, mate. You know what I mean? So I thought the time passed very quickly. And all the scenes inside as well. Do you know what I mean? Like in the water scenes, all the kind of red herrings you got in there as well because you didn't know if the shark was coming, you didn't know if that was a shark or not. It just added to the tension throughout, man. So it was a good tension builder, I thought. And it was good kind of relationships, chemistry with the three guys on the boat, and you just kind of seen how much like mayors and kind of town officials kind of are just greedy. You know what I mean? They're just greedy so-and-sos.
That was one of the most interesting parts of the film for me was the battle between the police and the kind of tourism board. Mm-hmm. So it's something I think would be quite good to have a discussion about.
Aye. You want to go into it now?
Yeah, okay. So it's probably quite a simple answer, really, but still may have different viewpoints. If you were the mayor, James, would you have shut the beaches based on the situation at the time?
Of course I would have, man. Do you know what I mean, there was a death, and obviously the TV's obviously like say there's no evidence and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? But I don't know. Personally, if I was the mayor and I've been brought this to my attention, I'd be shutting the beaches. But he's obviously getting pressure from someone else as well. Do you know what I mean? So shit always falls in the way. So he's getting pressure off somebody else to keep the beaches open because it's the holidays, the 4th of July. It's a big day in America. Do you know what I mean? So, and then if they don't get that money, then what happens to the town? So I can see both sides of the argument, mate, to be honest with you. But if somebody dies, it has to be taken seriously, doesn't it? Let's be honest.
So I need to get my obligatory Harry Potter reference in here. So when Voldemort was coming back, the Minister for Magic, Cornelius Fudge, would go to any length to deny that he was and come up with all these different excuses. And it kind of just reminded me of that a wee bit, how you've got the person in like charge of the town kind of try to pull wool over people's eyes and kind of not let them to believe it.
Aye.
The kind of follow-on question from that is see if you had heard that there was a shark attack where you lived, would you be rushing off to the beach to sunbathe?
No, I would not. And that's what confused me as well. They just kind of the moment they're just kind of sitting at the beach. I mean, getting the ice creams and all that, but no one was going in the water.
It's like
And
they had
then
like morbid curiosity about it, wasn't it?
aye, but then the Mears, obviously, he's at the beach and he's kind of ushering folk into the water. Do you know what I mean, going into the water and all that sort of thing, and they end up all grin.
There's
But
some irresponsible parenting going on as well.
well, there's that. Aye,
Why? I don't understand that bit when he told them to go to the pond. It's like, you know, there's been shark attacks, but you're sending like your sons off to like a bit of water that the shark could access.
I know that was. I think he just thought it was safer than being out there. Do you know what I mean?
Surely the land's just safer in general, or was it just he didn't want to deal with a tantrum? That might have been it.
Well, they wanted to deal with tantrum, but aye. Well, that is it, isn't it? Because they wanted to go in the water, but it was kind of that kind of middle. Right, okay, you can go in the water, but you can go in just that wee bit over there. Can you go into the ocean?
Yeah.
At least that's something for them. Do you know what I mean? So it was kind of meet in the middle type thing. What would you do though? Because you didn't answer your own question.
What about the beach or the close?
Tourist?
Both questions.
Aye, well, both questions. Aye.
Right. So see at the time when he was making, but I suppose there was more than one death. Yeah, if it was me personally, I would have closed the beaches because I don't think children or adults as well getting massacred's a great thing. And then obviously the blood is essentially be on your hands as well. And I definitely wouldn't have went to the beach if I'd known there was a shark attack. Although part of me would be kind of like curious to see a shark. Even I wouldn't maybe go like close to the water. I would maybe stay like at the very back of the beach or even just beyond the sand, back the way on like a bench or something.
See, to be honest with you, I probably would have went to the beach because like you're on land still. Do you know what I mean? So I never have went. I'd have dipped my toes in the water, mate. Do you know what I mean? He's not going to go that far in. So I would do that.
Yeah.
I'm not that feet of the water, mate.
If you lose your toes, then that's on you.
As long as it's not my big toe, but
need that for toe pokes.
Big toe pokes, aye. Aye, okay, good wheeze.
It's an interesting discussion anyway.
Aye.
Well, it'd be interesting to hear our listeners and viewers. Would you have shut the beach? Would you have went to the beach? Answers in the comments.
Aye, get your thoughts on. Let me hear them. Right, okay. So move on, and we'll discuss what was your favourite scene from the film.
Ooh. I think the scene where like the mayors said they're going to keep the beaches open and Brody's on duty and he's just scanning the whole beach, just watching everything that's going on. And I just think the tension in that scene was probably the highest it was in the whole film.
Aye, that was mine as well, mate.
There's also the bit where when they're on the boat and Brody just looks around and sees the shark, but then he just turns around, like turns his back on it, and he's just like staring at the guys. I thought that bit was quite good as well.
Aye, because that bit that you were talking about, he's on the beach, Brody's on the beach, and he's just watching the water, and he's getting all these people talking to him, but he's not listening to what they're saying because he's constantly focused on the water. And there was a few red herrings in there as well, wasn't there? Because there was like people screaming. There was like people using like water floats and pushing people up in the air.
There was a guy lifting a girl up in the air. She was the one that was screaming, wasn't it?
So there's that one. That was a few red herrings before the actual scene happened with the boy Alex was killed by the shark. But the bit that you're talking about where he's on the boat and he sees a shark, he turns around and faces the guy like pure white face, sheer like disbelief, and he says the words, and we'll come on to the quote in a wee second. What did he say?
Well, I actually think if this is the quote I'm thinking of, the kind of the most famous Jaws quote, I actually think a lot of people misquote it.
Well, that's what I was going to go into, mate.
Yeah, because it's people usually say we're going to need a bigger boat, but that's not actually what is said in the film. Is that right?
That's right. That's one of the Mandela effects.
Yeah.
So people misquote it or they misremember and say, "Oh, we're going to a bigger boat," but the actual quote is, "You're going to need a bigger boat."
Yeah.
It's his boat.
It's quite funny, that, isn't it?
Aye, it's funny. I think what was it? Casting Views put something on as well, I'm sure.
Right.
So I'm sorry, Dan, if I've missed out your interaction with us, but you did say something about they had the GIF, we were going to a bigger boat. And
Aye.
I said that was one of the biggest Mandela effects in films. There's loads of others, man, but I'm not going to go into them today.
Yeah.
But aye, that was why aye. So but just that look when he sees a shark for the first time, it's going like oofed. Like, can you imagine coming face to face with a shark? Great,
I
right?
also think, because you know the scene where he's sitting reading about sharks,
Uh huh.
as scared as he was and as worried as he was for his son and stuff, do you not think Brody developed a bit of an obsession or like a deep interest at least?
Oh, aye, definitely. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been out. But he had the option. You know, it was his kind of his mission. I feel like, but knowing the fact he was scared of water, he didn't like it. I think he was always curious about, this, and he felt safe as well along with Quint, even though he was a bit of a madman.
I related a lot to Brody in this film actually, because see if I was going to be one of the characters that was on the boat, I would have been him, because I'm pretty useless with like tying ropes and all those kind of practical. That's just not my thing at all. So I related quite a lot to him. What was quite interesting though was Quint didn't get on well with Hopper at all. Was it Hooper or Hopper? Hooper. Yeah, I'm thinking of Hopper from Stranger Things. But he was actually quite patient with Brody, like kind of teaching him like the skills and all that kind of stuff.
He didn't like Hooper because he came from like I don't know, as if he was kind of rich and he went to the ocean, he did all that. Aye, and he was a marine biologist and all that sort of thing, do you know what I mean? Where he was just out in open water and he was kind of learned it off himself type thing, do you know what I mean? So
the relationships between the three of them were interesting.
I think I need to say this as well, because this is one of the most iconic scenes of the actual film, is Quint's monologue on the boat. Had actually that, I thought there was more interaction between Quint Hooper at that point in time, or I had that as the screen read, but it's just pretty much Quint's monologue about the USS Indianapolis he was on, about surviving it and all that sort of thing, and all the sharks at that point.
You're not going to go for it now?
Nah. I looked at it and I'm going, it's like there's big sections. I'll be here forever. Although Paul can put it in as part of it in
post-production.
Post-production. I thought that was also a good scene as well, and they're all singing as well. They're all kind of, and then before the shark comes.
Aye. Nah,
See,
you wouldn't have caught me going out in that boat.
Nah. I don't know, man. Like, it's obviously easy for me to sit here and say I would know, man. But like, I'm curious. You think humans are curious anyway? Do you know what I mean, man? But I think I would be quite curious to see what it would be like. But I don't know the devastation that a great white can do, and knowing that that's the boat I was going on as well. Do you know what I mean? I wouldn't say that boat was actually fit for purpose.
I think they needed a bigger one.
Well, indeed. So, but you quite knew what kind of shark he was going out for. Do you know what I mean? So, suppose it was the only boat he had. Talking about kind of Hooper and Quint's relationship, I don't think Quint was very what's the word? I want to say happy. It's not what I'm looking for, but he wasn't very happy with Hooper's shark cage. What do you make of that scene then? The whole shark, he went under the water with the shark cage.
I think I kind of misremembered this scene, because I turned to Alien and I went, the copper survives and the other two die. And then as the film went on, I was like, I could have sworn that Hooper dies, but he doesn't. But I think he was originally meant to die,
All right.
and then they changed it. It was something to do with the filming of the cage scene. So I think Hooper was originally meant to die.
Can you imagine being claustrophobic though in that cage, and then you're
Oh.
having to, and then you're in the water and you're being attacked from all angles.
That's the worst. Like, I don't even like the idea of going through like a, like sometimes with those nightmares, and it's like a really low down narrow tunnel, and you have to go through it in your dream.
Mm-hmm.
So that coupled with water, coupled with a shark, to me that's up there with getting buried alive.
Oh, buried alive. I don't fancy that one. To be honest,
Probably worse.
Aye. Like, because he lost his poison dart, didn't he, as well? So it's like, well, he's got no defense against this, or the cage. It's crumbling every time it's been hit.
It's amazing. Like, he survived because he looked terrified when he was going down, didn't he?
We don't really know, don't we? Know until he did. We don't really know he survived until the end. So that was kind of.
I think I do, because as I said, I was listening to a couple of videos before we came on, and I think that was a reshoot. Him like swimming down to the ocean floor.
Right.
That's another thing that freaks me out about the ocean. See, like the proper deep parts of the ocean where like you don't actually know where the like the actual bottom is, like probably impossible to get to. These are the kind of things I think about when I'm on a plane, by the way, like as you're passing over the water.
You do eyes. If the plane hits the water, how far do I need to go down? Nah. Just that's right. Listen, mate, I get it. Do you know what I mean? There's loads of things I'll think as well. Do you know what I mean? So, okay. Talking about Quentin, then we'll talk about some, death in that way. Quentin dies. Were you surprised that he died, or do you think it was a fitting end to him?
I wouldn't say I was surprised, because to be honest, you would kind of expect at least 2 out of the 3 of them to die, based on what they were doing. I think he had. Well, it's probably the most. You do see limbs and different things like that and blood, but this is it's probably the only time you see the shark proper out in the open. So it's probably the most kind of gruesome death that we do see.
Aye. I mean, I thought it was. On you go, sorry.
I think just his nature of how like intense he was and how kind of arrogant he was, and I think it was quite telegraphed, I suppose, that he was going to not survive the film.
Aye, I mean, I can see why. Do you know what I mean? When it was like it was a fitting end, because he was a shark hunter. He killed sharks, and you seen his kind of workshop with all the kind of the jaws and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? I think it was, fitting that he died at the hands of a great white, really. But it was horrifying, though, wasn't it? Though, I mean, I think, like, I'm just trying to picture myself when I was younger watching that, going, "Oof, that, I don't fancy that happening anytime soon." Do you know what I mean?
Do you what genre do you class this film as, personally?
I thought, you know what, mate? I don't know, because I think part of me wants to say horror, but I think the problem with the genres of films these days is that they mould them into something different. So that if this was released today, it wouldn't be deemed as a horror film. I think in 1975 it probably was horror. But if I was to reclassify it now, I don't even know what category I'd put it in. To be honest with you, you know what I mean? It's no action.
There's a couple of scenes that are quite maybe hard to watch. Like, there's a scene with the girl at the start where, like, all the insects and stuff are getting at the body, and then there's the bit where they find the fisherman's remains under the boat as well.
That's right.
So there are kind of horror elements, I suppose, to the film.
Well, I think so. But I think, as I was saying, man, I don't think it would be. It's not the horror films.
Is creature feature a genre on its own? I suppose. You know, like you get like
Feature.
you get like your Godzillas and your
Aye.
films like that.
I don't know. I'm not sure.
Or what would it? Let's see, what is it actually classed as? Be
It's
interested
on
to see.
Netflix, but it probably can't look at multiple genres, mate, to be honest with you. I don't know.
I know. I suppose you can't always pigeonhole a film into kind of one area. It's an interesting discussion point, anyway. So again, if people are listening, on like just Google in general, it's down as thriller/adventure. So I can see that aspect of it as well.
Aye.
The adventure of going out to
Thriller.
kill the shark.
Aye. It's quite hard to pigeonhole that one, like you say, mate. Do you know what I mean? I don't know. I think the score itself might lend itself to horror because of the fact that it's very eerie.
Yeah.
If you link it back to other scores, other films, like other horror films like The Shining, whatever, do you know what I mean? Or whatever. Oh, yeah, The Shining, I don't even know if that's even horror either, do you know what I mean? But it's that kind of, it's the score behind the films that make it more sinister, I think.
Total tangent, but we've already done The Shining, but it'd be quite fun to do it again and hear your thoughts on it.
The Shining Part 2.
Because I've just finished reading the book as well, so I'd be interested to have a bit of comparison piece.
Right, okay. I'm happy to do that, mate. I've seen it for a while. I think I saw it last Halloween, mate, when I did my Halloween, or the Halloween before that. I can't remember when I did my 31 days of horror.
Oh, I remember that. That was not, you were doing that just kind of in the lead up to joining us.
That's right, aye. So, aye, I'm happy to give it another watch, mate. We could do it for a future pod.
Yeah.
Okay, man. So we'll move on to favourite quotes then, mate. Is there any quotes that you found that were decent? You made you chuckle?
There's no. I don't think there's like particular like standout lines. I think it's more just, as you say, like longer monologues or good discussions between characters. I think for me, rather than quotes, I think it's more of a visual film, and I think it's more the music and the what you see rather than what you hear. Personally, like there's no real kind of standout lines out with the ones we've already discussed.
I know.
For me personally, anyway, it's not that I don't think the dialogue's good. I can't think of them just off the top of my head.
No, I know. Like I've got a couple down, mate, but like I say, there's no. It's mostly all Quint, to be honest with you. Do you know what I mean? I think the quote at the end when he killed the shark. You know what I mean? He says, "Smell you, son of a bitch," and then he shoots the gas canister.
I think just in terms more of the visuals, there's I can't remember what point of the film it's in. I think it's maybe like 3/4 of the way through. It's the first time you see the shark's face, but it's coming up the way from under the water. I thought that was quite a memorable shot as well.
Right, I think again, it's not revealing all of the shark. It's just kind of
they just kind of did it bit by bit, which I think worked really well.
I think it.
To me, I've said it at the start, but just any of the scenes that are underwater where you're just got the shark's point of view and you're seeing people's legs dangling, I think those are the best parts of the film in terms of the tension, and the ones on the beach that we spoke about.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes you don't know, you realise how close the shark is when you see the legs, do you know what I mean? And then all of a sudden it's right there and it's pulling folk down and stuff. So, definitely the tension building for the shark's point of view is up there, mate. Regarding quotes, like I said, there isn't very many other than the one that's been misquoted a lot.
But But again, if
And
anyone has any favourite quotes they want to share, then let us know.
I do like it's only a quote, it's a scene, but as I said before, it's the bit where they're on the boat and they're having a drink and that, and they're comparing each other's kind of shark attacks.
Do you want to see? Do you want to hear how I got these scars? I think I've just misquoted the Joker.
But they're singing the song as well. Do you know what I mean? So that was a nice scene. A bit of banter between them all.
Yeah.
Right, okay. Before we do, I want to hear who's your favourite character then?
It has to be I'm terrible with names, you know that? The Copper.
Brody?
Aye. I think he's my favourite because I think he's probably the one we get to know the best because we meet his wife, we meet his kids, we see him at home, we see him at work. He's got a good kind of moral compass in terms of he wants to do the right thing. He shows bravery in the face of fear for going on the boat. And that scene where he's saying bye to his wife, it's like there's a really, obviously does survive. And it would have been nice actually because the film ends quite abruptly, I think. It'd have been quite nice to see him get back and see his wife again, see his kid again, and see like how the town react to the shark getting killed because it kind of just ends on the water. Don't know, you might like that, but I thought maybe it would have been good to see like the wife see him return because they had kind of built up the relationships in there.
I do agree. They did kind of build up. They did end the film abruptly, but I think it was quite good because sometimes, it was already 2 hours and 4 minutes long, granted, right? But sometimes I think that wanting to see what happens when they come home and see the happy ending and whatever, there's no need for that. Do you mean that the happy ending was there? The shark is no longer going to be terrorising people anymore. Do you know what I mean? Everybody's safe now, and I think we already had that relationship established between Brody and his wife and his kids. He's going back there. He's safe now. So, and I know what you're saying, mate, about having what's the town's reaction to Brody killing the shark. I don't know, mate. Do you know what I mean? I just don't think it was required.
Yeah,
I understand why it was needed. I understand why people would like to see that. Do you know what I mean? I don't think it was required, but I understand why folk would like to see that. But I don't think it was needed.
Because he's obviously an outsider. He's from New York, isn't he?
No.
And he doesn't feel quite at home. Like he's kind of used to like a certain like. It kind of reminds me a wee bit of like in Hot Fuzz when Sergeant Angel goes to like the town with no crime and things like that, and he's used to like having like lots of crime to deal with. I've got 2 questions to ask you, but don't want to take away from your moment. So, who was your favorite character then? I think I know, probably judging by your screen name.
Yes.
I could have guessed that for you, by the way, without even seeing it.
You know me so well. Aye, Quint is definitely my favourite character, man. He's just eccentric. He's mental. In the bits where he just, how when Brody's calling the Coast Guard and he just comes in with the baseball bat or whatever it is and he just smashes up the phone. He's like, nobody's helping us here. We're doing this ourselves. And it's just, the fact he's done this all his life. He's the bit as well where when they're all in talking, he commands respect. So they're all in talking, and he's got his nails in the blackboard, and he puts them doing it. That horrible noise, and it's like, but that's him commanding like attention. But when he talks, people are listening. You even think about it on the boat as well, like they listen to him because he's well experienced. Even though he dies at the end, but I think spoiler alert, but you should have already seen this film by now.
Unless you're Stu.
I just don't know, man. I think he was by far the best character, but I understand where you're coming from, mate. Do you know what I mean? Like he's a guy who came from New York to an island, or to a town rather, that had it was on the coast, it was water, and I just think it was brave of him doing that. Do you know what I mean? Taking that job on.
I just related quite a lot to him because he was absolutely useless on the boat, and I was like, that'd be me.
Oh.
That'd be me if I was there.
So it's got nothing to do that he's both wear glasses. It's just the water thing.
Well, is that as well?
So does Hopper, doesn't he, though?
So 2 questions I had. First
Right.
question was, well, I think there's 3 questions. First question was, do you understand my screen name of Bruce?
Bruce, no. Where'd that come from?
So that's what Steven Spielberg named the shark.
Oh, right, okay.
Also, not in the movie, but like kind of in the kind of production process.
All right.
It's
Big
called
Bruce.
Bruce. Yeah. Second one was, my answer is no. Have you seen any of the Jaws sequels? I've heard they're not great.
No, I've
Or
not.
that they had.
Nah, I didn't want to kind of ruin the first one. Do you know what I mean? It's like I read reviews that they're not that good, so I think they're better left alone.
Yeah.
So I've not.
And the kind of deeper question was, what's your thoughts on the kind of morality of the murderous tirade against the shark, who, fair enough, ate some humans that were in their area of the world? Do you think it's justification to go out on a crusade and like shoot the shark to death?
Are you trying to get me into trouble with the animal activists out there?
No, I'm just curious. I'm just curious to what you're, because I don't. Well, I'll hear your thoughts first.
I think they did the right thing, mate. Because listen, to preserve human life is the main thing. Do you know what I mean? If that shark is in and about the water that they want some time, then it's not going to go away because it knows it's going to get some food. Do you know what I mean? It knows. So I think in order to deter it is to destroy it, mate. To be honest with you, I don't think like I say, if it you're not killing sharks for fun, no. Right, I don't. If the shark is doing something like what it was doing there, like it killed two people, then it's reasonable cause. Do you know what I mean? I wouldn't go out in a boat and go, right, what we doing today? I'm going to go hunt sharks. I'm up for that, mate. Bring your ropes and that. Nah, no, it's not a game. Do you know what I mean? But if it's a threat to human life, then yes, I would be doing the exact same as them, mate.
I'm glad you added that second part on, because at first you were just like, I killed the shark, but then you kind of like tweaked it to explain why. I get what you're saying there, and I think like the shark shouldn't be allowed to just go out and murder people that are in fishing boats who are essentially making their livelihood. But part of me is kind of like, that's where the sharks live. Like, the sharks aren't, well, they would be capable, obviously, but they're not coming on to like the mainland and murdering folk. Like, sharks, animals do have a right to roam the world as well. Like, humans weren't always about. So, I can see both sides of it. I think you do need to protect your citizens, and like, I think necessary risks. Like, see, if you live in a part of the world where there's sharks, do you really need to be go out swimming in open water? Like, there could be plenty of swimming pools on the mainland. You could go on holiday to countries where there is no sharks. If it's your job, like you're a fisher person, that's different. But should you not be a bit safer? Maybe go in a bigger boat, like that's, you're not going to be within risk. Like, the sharks are only really a risk to kind of small to medium sized boats. Like, if you got like larger ferries, ships, it's not going to be as much of a risk. So there's an element of, yes, protect your citizens, but also the sharks do have a right to their habitat as well, and they're technically not doing anything wrong by their own standards. Like, we eat animals just like they eat humans, like circle of life, you know.
Aye, well, I'm not going to go into any more detail in that, man, but it's a valid point.
Just try to see it from the shark's point of view.
Save the sharks! Was it saying tune with that again? Is it? I can't remember now. Oh, I can't remember. Come back to me.
It's
Anyway.
this film kind of not this film, a different film. Kind of reminds me of it was like I think it must have been a Halloween special episode of The Simpsons, but it was when like the dolphins essentially took over the world, and the world was just getting ruled by dolphins.
I can't remember that one. Don't know. We do have some Halloween specials coming up, though, don't we, for Simpsons? We're going to do that for Halloween in October.
Yeah, I thought that'd be quite fun. There's a lot of great content in there, so yeah, well remembered.
Right, okay, mate. So it's quiz time for you.
Oh no, because
Yes.
I watched this in 2 parts because I'm extremely tired in the evenings right now for previously explained reasons. So I made some notes on the first night and then didn't make any the second night. So I'm just relying totally on memory here. So I'm not expecting great things, but
That's
save the
okay.
sharks.
Right, okay, question 1 then. Right.
How many questions?
5.
Okay.
What is the name of the fictional town where Jaws takes place? Nice easy one for you.
Oh, Amity Island.
Yes.
Oh, I think that's the first question I've got right, like in any of the quizzes.
I think every question I've actually got here I've said or we've discussed, so it should be straightforward, hopefully. What is the profession of Matt Hooper?
He's a marine biologist.
Correct, 2 out of 2.
Nice.
What tragic event does Quint recount of to Brody and Hooper while on the Orca?
Tragic event.
Yeah, so what does he talk about?
Was it not? I think you did mention it before. Is it just maybe when he got bit by a shark before, like when he showed his scar? Or is that not it?
It was that time. It was
Aye.
during that discussion.
Yeah. So is that not the answer?
No,
Yeah, I don't know then.
it's the sinking of the USS Indianapolis.
Yeah, that rings a bell.
So 1, 2. There's the third question. So fourth question is, how much money does Quint want to take out the shark?
$3,000.
No,
$5,000.
$1 million.
It wasn't a large amount by like today's standards.
No, but it does say 3,000. But 3,000 is only to find the shark.
Oh, so that was a trick question.
No. He says he wanted 10,000.
Aye, but 3,000 was mentioned in the film, so I'm taking a moral victory.
No, they said that they initially gave 10,000. Sorry, 3,000 was the. But he wanted more than that.
That's why I'm taking a moral. That's why I'm taking a moral victory because it was mentioned in the film. So I remembered a number.
Right. Okay. Last question, and you seem to think you've got this one. What is the first name of Chief Brody's wife in the film?
Oh,
I threw in a curveball there, mate.
Wendy. It's not right, is it?
It is not. It is
What's
Ellen.
the name?
Ellen.
Ellen. Right.
Ellen.
Okay. So I get 2 out of
3 out of
5.
5.
3 out of 5.
Yeah, 3 out of 5. You got there.
I'll never get over the very first time we did this. Remember the sudden death between you and Paul for the Simpsons movie?
That was good. Okay, mate. So before we finish up, mate, you do the seismic stars. So what are you giving this film out of 10?
Out of 10. Probably give it a 9. And as you say, it's not maybe fair based on when it came out, but I think when you actually do see the shark at the end, which should be like the big crescendo, I think it doesn't look that great, and it does kind of take you out of the film a wee bit. Other things, just some of the it's obviously needed for the film, but just some of the character decisions, like the mayor, as we discussed, keeping the beach open and the public still wanting, but I suppose people can be silly though, so people do things like that in the real world. So yeah, I'll go for 9 and just actually I'll go 9.5, and I'll explain why. Because a big strength of the film, as we said, was that you don't see the shark a lot. So taking a full mark off for one scene where you see the shark, where when you seen its face coming up from the water was still good, and obviously because there's also I don't know if we mentioned, there's a scene where like the shark's on the right hand side of the screen just out of shot, and you only see it for like a second. Do you know what I mean?
I do know what you mean.
Yeah. So I'll go 9.5, just because
Okay.
the bit when the shark's on the boat, it does look a bit naff, and it does kind of take you out a wee bit.
Okay, mate. I'm giving it a 9. So I went 9. I think everything you've said, mate, is all valid. A few things up to me a little bit. But I think in the grand scheme of things, mate, everything we've spoke about, the performances, the music, was all good, mate. So I'm going to go 9.
One bit we forgot to discuss actually was when they found the earlier shark, the smaller shark, and they were trying to work out like what kind of shark it was, that kind of thing.
The tiger shark, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Because you had 2 per head with the measuring tape to get the diameter of the jaw, and
Yeah.
it was too small. So, okay.
Yeah.
Well, we'll finish up there then, mate. So before we do, I want to kind of give a wee brief what's next in Seismic Cinema then. Okay, so today, or whenever you listen to this, you're listening to Jaws. Next week, we are have the Hunger Games. It was Colin hosting that one.
I'm excited for this, by the way. It's a franchise I've got a lot of time for, and you've never seen it, so I am really looking forward to hearing your thoughts on it.
Aye, I mean, I've got my thoughts just now because of what I've read about it, but I'll give it a watch, obviously, and I'll give you my opinion on that. We've got a guest on, haven't we, for Hunger Games, Colin?
Yeah, we're hoping
So far,
to. Yeah,
so
we'll confirm that, and then we'll promote that.
Okay, excellent. And then after that, we've got Seismic Soccer, bringing Seismic Soccer back for the start of the new season. We do hope to do a live show on that one, so we'll confirm that as and when we do it. So keep your eyes peeled on the socials, folks. And then that's the next 2 we've got coming up. Oh, Colin, sorry, I know you have. It's somewhere down the line. We've got American Psycho.
Yes.
Now, I've recently just found my book, American Psycho.
Oh, I tried to read that and I couldn't.
So I'm going to read that again before. I read that years and years and years ago. I'm going to read that again and watch the film because the book is better than the film. But
we can talk about it when we do the review, but
yeah.
There's a reason why I couldn't get into the book at all.
Right,
you might
okay.
already know what it is. Dead Poet Society as well is another one I'm looking forward to doing.
Yep.
Which will be good.
Well, lastly, just to say, you can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Threads, and TikTok. Keep on doing that, guys. Keep telling people about us. Help us kind of grow the channel. You can help Gary with his microphone. Buy his microphone on buymeacoffee.com/Seismic Cinema. And you're already here. You're watching, you're listening. But again, just share, like, comment as well. If you could give a review on any of these things as well, folks, it would be massively helpful for us. You can do that on YouTube, Spotify, and pretty much anywhere you listen to your podcasts or watch your podcasts. Okay. So, Colin, thanks very much, mate, for taking time out your Sunday morning.
It's all right. Contractually obliged to be here, so.
Hopefully we'll get Paul on. I haven't seen Paul in ages, man, so hopefully we'll get Paul on soon.
Yep.
But yes, thanks again for listening, folks, and for watching. We do appreciate it, and we'll speak to you soon.
Farewell,
Colin.
yeah.
Sorry, before I go, what is the Seismic Cinema slogan?
Well, it's interesting because it's historically been that we believe in the power of escapism, but we've had a wee bit of a chat about whether escapism in that form is maybe the health. That won't always be this long-winded, but is that the healthiest way to approach life? So we had a discussion about what we can maybe tweak that to, but I'll be completely honest, I've forgotten what that was. Can you remember what we said? We had a big discussion about it.
It's in the notes somewhere, mate. But
it's more just about taking time to get together with friends, discuss movies, and just have that kind of social contact. So it's not escapism; it's more. We'll refine this and we'll get back to you.
There's a rebrand on the way, folks. That's what you're saying.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, guys. Thanks very much. Bye.
Cheers.